international break content from the Football Martin channel. Thank you very much for tuning in to the channel, whether that's on YouTube, Facebook, or you're listening in download format. It's great to have you here, and I want you guys to get involved in this one as well, because this show is going to be all about how I felt at the end of each game that we've played this season. League and Cup, I've covered every fixture that we've played. You can get involved. Tag me on social media with the conclusion that you come to. I'm going to give you my conclusion. And it's a good chance actually to do this and do a bit of a sort of like quarter of the season review, because that's kind of where we're at now. I thought it was a really good opportunity just to reflect upon everything that's gone on up until now. And we're doing something very similar when the next international break comes around later on next year, but there's not an international break for a long period of time now. This is the last one. Finally, then we will get into a rhythm of fixtures. Stay tuned to the Football Martin channel for all things Southampton, all things Championship. I'm going to cover it all here on the channel. And if you want some exclusive perks and some benefits from the channel, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Football Martin. Great way to do a very small contribution towards the channel and get some exclusive content in return. There are going to be some members lives as well, so they are going to be for members only. Right, where do we start? I think we need to go back to the very first fixture of the season, don't we? Wrexham at home is where we start with how I felt at the end of the game. And for me, it's probably the best moment of the season, quite unbelievably, really. It was unbelievable, wasn't it? 2 late goals that really turned it round for Saints. It was Ryan Manning with a free kick, and then it was super Jack Stevens with that header, and the atmosphere in St Mary's was incredible that day, and we haven't seen anything like it since. So for me, walking away from that game, I have to say I was absolutely delighted. So there isn't going to be many delighted, is there? Let's be honest, it's been a naff season so far. But I thought the performance against Wrexham was actually really scrappy, but we came good in the last 20 minutes. And I thought we'd actually kick on and it was going to be a really exciting few months, but it turned out to be otherwise. So after that fixture, we played in midweek against Northampton Town. That was in the Carabao Cup. Didn't go to that one. I haven't been to every game this season, but I didn't go to this one. And it was a really poor performance from what I remember. Fernandez scored the goal for Saints and just about got us through, but it wasn't the greatest of performances. Was I happy? Unhappy? I was pretty unhappy at the performance on the night. I thought it was a poor performance, though we went through in the Cup. So you've always got to be happy to go through in the Cup. So, yeah, wasn't the greatest of performances. Then it was Ipswich Town away. I didn't go to this one, did a watch along. I remember my games well. I remember it being a terrible start from Saints. Didn't start the game well at all. The mistake from Joshua Kwasi. Saints trying to play out from the back, got caught, and in the end, it wasn't a very good game. But I, at the time, reflecting upon it, was actually quite happy at the end of that game because it was a decent point against a team that got relegated with us, and I thought to go there and get a point was a decent start. So I was happy at the end of that fixture, even though we could have lost it and we weren't great. I was happy. I was happy with the performance. Give me all your thoughts on these as well. It'd be great to get your opinions, by the way. Please get involved in the comments. I read all of them and I absolutely love reading what you guys got to say. So after Ipswich Town, it was St Mary's at home, wasn't it? We were back at home against Stoke City. Not the greatest afternoon in the world, was it? We were poor, actually. Stoke were really good on the day. And I was actually, when I reflect upon sides we've played this season and sides that I've actually seen live, they're the best team that I've seen on that day. They were brilliant, I thought. The 2 wide men for them were absolutely, they were superb, weren't they? They caused us all sorts of issues. It was Baker Manhoef, who was really, really good. And it was Sorbra Thomas, who I thought was one of the best Championship players I'd seen this season. And the game was, it was dreadful. We found ourselves 2-0 down. Taylor Howell-Bellis got a consolation goal back, didn't he, in that one? But let's be honest, it wasn't a great game. I was pretty miserable after Stoke City. I wasn't, the game sucked, but I was just miserable after that one. So we're going to pop that in miserable. So we got one in each other than the game sucked, but we will, I'm sure we'll have a few in there very, very shortly. Right, I'm working through these fixtures one by one. Please do get involved in the comments box like I said. So after we played Stoke City, we had an EFL Carabao Cup game against a very, very poor Norwich City side. And I thought it was a game we were going to go and win, but we won it 3-0. Matsky scored the wonder goal on the night, didn't he? He was absolutely brilliant for Saints when he come off the bench. Cameron Archer, Ryan Fraser and Matsky. 3-0 Saints. Total dominance. And I've got to say, I did a watch along for that one. And I was delighted at the performance on the night. I thought it was a really good night for the boys. Absolutely tremendous. So, EFL Cup, the run soon came to an end, and it didn't last for that long. We'll come on to the next round very, very shortly. But after we played Norwich City in the Carabao Cup, we went on to play against... Getting the fixture. I'm just getting the fixtures as I go along. I'm popping it back up on my screen because I lost them for a couple of seconds. So yeah, after Norwich City, it was back in league action for the Saints, and we went to Watford. I went to this game. I was at Watford, and yeah, 2 really good free kicks on the day. I walked away from there like we'd lost. I remember feeling after the Watford game, thinking, I was pretty unhappy with it really because I wasn't miserable, but I was unhappy because we didn't win. It was a game where I think Finn Azaz made his debut, if I'm right in saying. It was his debut. He started the game quite well, but tired really, really quickly. And it was just like we were sloppy during large parts of the games. And at that stage, I was starting to worry a little bit about improvements. We weren't looking like a side that were massively improving, and then that brought the first international break of this season. It was a 2-week break, and then it was the big one. It was the derby. It was Portsmouth on the other side, and I've got to say that game absolutely sucked. It was terrible, wasn't it? It was, if not the worst game of the season. So much hype, so much anticipation, a chance for people to make themselves a hero. No one made themselves a hero. Just a really damp squib. It was a terrible game. So for me, game sucked against Portsmouth. Hopefully the return game isn't quite as bad. 0-0 that one. Then we went to Hull City and I thought, right, here we go. Hull City had not had the greatest start. We are going to kick on. And it's hard to say whether I was miserable or the game sucked. So I'm going to just give it the game suck because it was like, it's got to be the worst possible scenario because it's actually, in all the years I've been going to Saints away games, and boy, I've done a lot in the last few years, it was without question my worst experience ever of an away day. Not only did it rain from the Midlands up, it was horrible, it was cold, it was damp, the game was terrible. Hull, Bellis and Stevens had a nightmare on the day. Defensively, we were woeful and we were beaten 3-1. Adam Armstrong got the consolation. Long trip there, long trip back. And at that moment, I thought to myself, this season could be a real tricky one to navigate. And then you looked at it and we had Liverpool in midweek in the Carabao Cup and you were like dreading it. But you knew the manager was going to ring the changes. Though we lost the game, Shea Charles scores his first goal for Saints. Saints are brilliant on the night. Leo Cienza, he makes his first start in a Saints shirt, and you knew at that moment he was going to be an absolute wonderful player, superstar. He's a superstar. I love Leo Cienza. And for me, I was actually really happy with the performance. I wasn't delighted, but because we lost, but I was happy with the performance. I thought, you know what, we're going in the right direction. The boys bounced back. He made some big changes on the night wheel still and dropped some big names. And then we go to play Borough at the weekend. On the Saturday, we play the team top of the Premier League, then the team top of the Championship. And I thought, here we go. This is a tough week. And actually, we come out that week in really good shape. The result against Borough, I was pretty happy with the performance. Actually, I thought we did well, and it's a lot better than they expected. We weren't delighted, but I was happy with the performance. 2 great results in a week, really. And you were like, here we go. Can we find a bit of form? We then go to Sheffield United midweek, under the lights, on TV and Ross Stewart scores two goals, and we're all dreaming of Ross Stewart becoming the saviour. And to be fair, I was delighted on the night. I finished up instant reaction on the channel, watch along. It was just a brilliant night, and we were delighted for Ross Stewart, weren't we? We were excited about what he was going to do for Saints. So, yeah, absolutely delighted Sheffield United, and there onwards, things didn't really unravel too well, did they? We played Derby County before the international break. I went to that. Saints took an early lead, and then wasn't long before they Derby County equalised. I thought it was a poor game, really. Second half petered out, a game that I felt we needed to win. There was another international break coming on the other side of that. And, yeah, we didn't beat them. I was really disappointed with that performance. So walked away from there pretty miserable, to be honest, going into the international break. Derby had not won at home all season. They'd been absolutely rubbish. But they got one over on us, and they looked like they could have won the game in the second half. So the international break came, you thought, well, there's an opportunity just for a little mini reset before we go again. And then it was Swansea, the first game back after that international break for me. A game we absolutely dominated. It felt like we lost in the end. It wasn't a great one. It was a good performance, just didn't look like scoring goals. And you knew our problem was going to be not scoring goals. Walked away from that one pretty miserable, to be honest. I felt like we'd lost again, and I was starting to feel a little bit downbeat about things. I'm quite a positive person when it comes to Southampton games. On the back of that, then comes the worst defeat other than the whole of the season. A midweek game at Ashton Gate, and live on Sky for everybody to see. And we were terrible. We got ripped to shreds, old frailties everywhere, mistakes, giving the ball away, a lack of real desire. And at that stage, I kind of felt maybe he'd lost the dressing room. And I felt like maybe a few of the players weren't playing for Will still. So for me, the game sucked. I felt pretty lousy after that, and I think we all did. And you knew we were in for a hellish return game. After that one, because we had Blackburn Rovers away, two back-to-back away games up at Ewood Park, and I didn't go to this. I wasn't well. I had the flu. I'm ready to shaking that off, actually, to be fair. And that game was it sucked. Everything about it was terrible. Yeah, it sucked. I was miserable. It was sucked, and you knew that Steele was in big trouble. Then we absolutely collapsed in that game. So for me, game sucked. Totally miserable after Blackburn, and I think that was my most watched post-match reaction video on the channel at the time, most downloaded, most listened to across all platforms. I knew then, and as results got worse, more people were tuning in and giving me thoughts on videos, and like you could see how angry the Saints fans were. And then it was like a must-win game, wasn't it? It was a must-win game against Preston North End for Will Steele. It's at home. There felt tension in the air, and we didn't turn up at all. It was a dreadful performance. I think we were miserable. The game sucked. It was just, I'm just gonna say I was miserable, because I was miserable after that. That was then the second most That then became the most watched instant reaction video ever on my channels. It was everybody wanted Steele out, and you knew what was going to come off the back of that. You knew that he was going to get sacked. There was a lot of rumblings. And on that Sunday, Will Steele was dismissed as the Southampton manager after just 13 league games. Things were going drastically wrong. And then up steps, from the under-21s, up steps Tonda Eker. And he had two games, a midweek fixture against Queen's Park Rangers, who sat mid-table. For large parts of the game, they absolutely dominated it, about 38 shots at goal. There was a lot wrong about the performance, but we got the result in the end, and we walked away with a victory. And it was a hard-fought victory. It was doggy, it was dirty, and it was a bit nasty. We let one in late on, but we got it over the line. So for me, I was pretty happy to get the win. I wouldn't say I was unhappy. I was happy that Tonda got the result and the travelling fans got the result. And then last weekend, it was Sheffield Wednesday at home, and a team that were struggling for 11 men, professional players. They had to bring in a lot of youth, a lot of young lads, a very young side, a game that I expected to win at home. And do you know what? Fairly happy with it, to be fair. Wouldn't say I was delighted, happy with the win. Thought it was a solid performance from the Saints. And a good week for Tonda Eker. Really good. So that wraps up how I felt after each of the games. Quite a cool idea, this. I thought it was really good. I want you guys just to give me all your opinions and just be honest, be brutal. I know it's been terrible, but I've tried to give it a little bit of context on how I felt after all the games. So I didn't feel terrible after all of them. And there's some good when you look at it, there were some decent results in that little patch that we've had. They weren't all terrible results. What we should do is, now we've looked at the results we've had, we should have a little preview at what's to come. What is to come after this international break? And I look at the run. I'm going to look to Christmas, and you can just get involved. If you're still here watching or still here listening, you're amazing. Thank you. Get involved in the comments box below and give me your thoughts on how many points we're going to pick up between the return next weekend against Charlton and Boxing Day. Because we've got Charlton away at the Valley, Nathan Jones. They've been buoyant, really buoyant. They're going well. They're the best of the promoted sides from League One. It's then a home fixture against Leicester City, relegated with us. It's a tough game, that one. Though their goalkeeper's injured and they've got an old guy in goal that, should make it a little bit easier for us. We then got Millwall. Away. I'm going to that as well. I'm doing both the London away days. Millwall away. Tough game, tough place to go. We had a good result there last time out in the Championship. It's then Birmingham City at home and West Bromwich Albion at home. So 2 back-to-back games. Tough fixtures they are. Birmingham are going okay. West Brom could change manager by then. There's a bit of talk around a potential manager change there. Could they change manager? Remains to be seen. Norwich, talk about managers. We then played Norwich City away on the 13th of December. Tickets went on sale at the time of recording, Wednesday evening. They went on sale this morning. Norwich City, who will be in the dugout after the sacking of Liam Manning. Another Championship club without a manager right now. It's then Coventry City at home. Frank Lampard brings Coventry City to St Mary's on the 20th of December for a midday 30 kickoff. Sky Sports, that one. Absolutely looking forward to that. They're a great side, by the way. Best I've seen on TV. Obviously not seen them in the flesh, but they are superb to watch. And then it is Oxford United on Boxing Day away. So it is a really, really tough block of fixtures. And will Saints make a big, brave appointment before the game against Charlton Athletic? It does look, at the time of recording, it may have been announced by the time this goes out, that Paul Trollope, the assistant manager to Will Steele, could potentially be linking up with Rob Edwards, who he worked with at Luton Town. He could end up at Wolves. Rob Edwards has jumped ship from Borough. I'll give opinions on that shortly. And he's gone to Wolves, and I reckon Trollope may just follow. So there'll be another body out of the coaching staff at St Mary's. So there is big work to do in resetting things behind the scene. But I don't see that as a bad thing, actually. I see it's quite a good thing. Just reset, bring in fresh people, start again. But Rob Edwards, jumping ship from Borough. Still think Borough will be right in the mix, but they're talking about managers they're going to appoint. Some big names in that, by the way. Brendan Rodgers, he's right in the mix for that job. There's a lot of talk about Stephen Gerrard potentially coming back into management. I wouldn't take him at St Mary's. Many of you would. But Rob Edwards, a lot of people asked me about it. What did I think? And I just thought, you know what? Got a great opportunity by Gibson at Borough. Great owner, good football club. When he was he relegated, he had 2 back-to-back relegations on his CV from the Prem and had an absolute shocker last year in the Championship and got relegated. End up with their club, Luton Town, in League One. He finds an unbelievable job in Borough, and he looks like he could be taken to the Premier League. And I think if he stayed there, he'd be right in. I think they'd be going up. And he's jumped ship at the first opportunity. Money talks in football, but it is nonsense. It's not like you or me. If someone offers me like another 10 grand a year or 30 grand a year, you're like, yeah. Someone like me or a lot of people that tune into this channel where we're not fortunate enough to earn loads of money. This guy is like minted. I find it really, like, the lack of loyalty in football at times is just quite incredible. Give me all your thoughts to that one. That we got off on a bit of a tangent at the end of this episode. But look, it's international break. Something to listen to, something to watch. Right, what else is coming from the channel? Stay tuned. There's plenty more content. Going to be ranking each and every player that's played this season so far. That's going to be a live show, and you can get involved in that. And that is going out this Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Going to be joined by Ellie for that one. She's going to get involved in that, and you can watch live and give us your opinions. And we will run some live polls during the evening as well. And I want you guys to get involved in that. And then at the weekend, it will be the Saints quiz night. I'm going to announce that in the next 24 hours. There will be the Saints quiz over the weekend, and that will be another live stream on YouTube. It's been an absolute privilege and pleasure bringing you some more Southampton content on the channel. If you're new here and you've just stumbled across this channel, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Smash a like on the video. Get involved in the comments box below, and do please share it with a friend as well, because share the love. More fans that know about it, because there is a ton of fans that don't know about this channel, and we are, without question, the most watched channel outside the club, the most viewed and listened to other than the BBC South. So the numbers absolutely speak for themselves right now. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon.